This is indeed a singular honor, and I appreciate the fact that I was able to be selected for it. Admiral Carter, Admiral Natter, Midshipman Westerbrook, thank you so very much. In fact, thanks to the entire DGA committee, the Alumni Association, many friends, and my entire class in this honor. It's a distinct honor and privilege to share the platform with my fellow distinguished graduate awardees, Secretary Dalton, and excuse me, I'm older than I might look. And Captain June. In my own case, this is most assuredly an event far beyond the expectations of a lowly plebe way back in 1947. That now seems such a long time ago, perhaps even in a galaxy far, far away. But while it was indeed a long time ago, it was in a building not very far away, Dahlgren Hall to be exact. There and then, 725 midshipmen graduated from the United States Naval Academy and put on the uniforms of ensigns and second lieutenants. All were proud that they were members of the great class of 1951, and still are. 51, second to none. The superintendent called us bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. We thought that a bit over the top, but we were, in fact, ready to go forth and slay the demons of the day, the Soviets, the North Koreans, and the Red Chinese. Some did go right to combat in Korea, either in ships or as Marines up close and personal against the enemy. We even had one who went into the Army who was unfortunately killed in combat in Korea. Others went to flight training in the Navy and the Air Force. Still others went to more school and then to various staff corps. Later, some of those who had gone first to sea became submariners. Over the years since, some were lost in wars, some were lost in accidents, some were lost to diseases of various sorts. So today, out of that 725, only 250 survive. You may see many of those octogenarians at a 65th reunion right here at the Naval Academy later this month. Perhaps not with bright eyes and bushy tails, but as individuals and as a group who made their marks in the Navy, in the Marines, in the Air Force, and in the civilian world. You have seen many of them cheering Navy in Navy and Marine Corps Stadium and around the yard. I'm proud to be a member of that great class, and I thank them for supporting me in this great honor. It's an honor also to be able to say a few words to the current brigade. We know full well that things are a lot different than when the class of 1951 was here. In fact, one of our classmates has a grandson among you. I'm sure he, for one, has heard chapter and verse, how we marched to and from classes. We all studied the same subjects. There were no majors. We couldn't even have radios in our rooms until the youngster year, and automobiles were out of the question. We did learn to study, however. No one in the class of 1951 can match any of you when it comes to Twitter, Spotify, Facebook, or the latest social media craze, but we were imbued with the capacity to learn. Those who were the most successful among us kept learning, and so should you. If you don't, the world will pass you by and you'll fail the men and women you'll be privileged to lead. Do read. Do study. Do keep up with the changes that are guaranteed to come. Do keep learning. Then, just as we did when we once got to the fleet, you will find that you have to keep studying to keep up with the American sailor and Marine. You will find that our sailors and Marines are smart. They are quick. They're good. You will have to do all those things I listed and more just to keep up with them. You should also listen to them. New ideas and better ways are not solely the province of rank. As Admiral Isaac C. Kidd was fond of saying, nobody has a corner on the market for brains. Some of the best ideas for better and safer ways of doing things will come from the deck plates. Beyond that, and above all, your business is leadership. You may be the world's expert in computer science, oceanography, or something else, but your main job will be leadership. You'll be leading some of the finest young men and women the nation has to offer, perhaps in peace, more likely in combat or near combat. Rest assured they want to do a good job. That's why they joined in the first place. Your job will be to make it easy for them to do that good job. And for that, I offer you a short recipe. Make sure those who you purport to lead know what's expected, that they know the goal, not just the broader goals of the Navy or the Marine Corps, or even the squadron or the platoon, but the individual goal and expectations for every man and woman in your charge. Then be sure they have the training to reach those goals and expectations. See that they get the proper schools, then train them yourself if you must, and in many cases, you probably should. Lastly, get out of the way and cheer them on. If you can do that, you'll be successful in your Navy or Marine career and beyond. Now, I didn't learn those rules in a book or hear it in a bar or from some old guy at a lectern behind a microphone. Instead, I watched leaders who went before me and took lessons from them, good and bad. I've already mentioned Admiral Ike Kidd, but there was also Rear Admiral Joe Clifton, Navy football tailback in the late 1920s, and World War II fighter pilot, who was put down by some of his classmates as not the sharpest knife in the drawer. Yet he was able, through his own enthusiasm and dedication, to motivate to excellence even the most sluggish sailor or junior officer. Then there was Captain Leo McCudden, commanding officer of the aircraft carrier Ranger in the Tonkin Gulf in 1966. Before leaving San Diego, Ranger had been presented a mannequin named Cuddles. McCudden kept Cuddles on the bridge, and each morning he would come up on the ship's announcing system, the 1MC, and tell the crew what Cuddles thought of how things had gone with flight operations, engineering, or perhaps underway replenishment the previous day. That was a great way to connect with a 5,000-man crew, and Cuddles' opinions were eagerly awaited each morning. Later, when I became CEO of Saratoga, by coincidence, we had on board a fighting cock, a real live rooster, Big Red, Sarah's symbol and mascot based on a tradition stemming from the Battle of Lake Champlain in the Revolutionary War. Each morning, I would get on the 1MC and use Big Red the same way that Captain McCudden had used Cuddles. The crew loved it. The moral of these stories, never be afraid to use someone else's good example. Still later in the Mediterranean, the 6th Fleet Commander, Vice Admiral Jerry Miller, at DGA, used a plethora of leadership stratagems to bolster morale in the fleet and on the staff. One of my favorites was his occasional practice of going ashore with the Marines on one of their occasional amphibious exercises with a 5-iron while his aide carried a bag of balls. Once ashore, he would hit the balls to shell the enemy or show the Marines where to go. They loved it. Another thing Admiral Miller had going for him was that as a new ship would enter the Sixth Fleet, he would send each one a message. Welcome to the Sixth Fleet. Commanding officers are my heroes. If you see something is not right or need something, write to me personally and directly. Remember also, if all else fails, nothing takes the place of common sense and logical reasoning. The second part applies to leaders at every level, including midshipmen, ensigns, and second lieutenants. If all else fails, nothing takes the place of common sense and logical reasoning. Clifton, McCudden, Miller, and Moore, all heroes of mine and exemplars to me. You'll find exemplars too. Use them, plagiarize them, benefit from them. Then in 30, 40, 50, or even 65 years, you too can look back and thank those from whom you learned. I most certainly did. Now to all of you, many thanks for listening. Many thanks for this honor. I wish you all good luck. I wish you all good speed. And whatever you do, never forget, beat Army!